Hello everyone, it's Wendy, it's Friday, and it is the last day of my April Idea Network. I am just getting on here because I want to be a little goofy with you guys, and I'm hoping you will play along. I was looking at a blog somebody had written, or an article someone had written about, we didn't expect this, we didn't know how, we didn't learn, didn't come with a manual, and it made me think of parenting. Because my dad and I were talking about, parenting doesn't come with a manual. And I was like, well, neither does adulting, right? But I was thinking, if we were to write a book called What to Expect When You're Not Expecting a Pandemic, what will we put in it? Like, what now? We're about, a little over a month in to all of this. Hey, Jack, we're in a little month, more than a month into all this quarantining. So I want to know what some of the biggest lessons that you've learned, and what would you add to this book called What to Expect When You're Not Expecting. So what are some of the lessons you've learned? So for me, hey, Rianne, I know she's busy. So for me, what to expect when you're not expecting is people's reliance on toilet paper. Hi, Anna. So I'm thinking, what else? What kind of stretch marks should we be expecting? Stretch marks. We're giving birth to a whole new society. So there's lots of things going on. So what would you add to this book? What to expect when you're not expecting an epidemic? And I just kind of got the giggles thinking about all the things we could add. Jack, I'm sure you have something to say. Jack is hilarious, and he's always got funny ideas. And so for me, I think another one of the things that I would add to this guidebook to what to expect when you're not expecting an epidemic is this kind of wave of emotions of both relief, entrapment, boredom. I mean, all of the gamut of emotions that we go through, and that they're totally normal. Like, that would help the expectant pandemic-y, is that a word? Quarantine-y, to say, all of these emotions are to be expected and accepted, and it's fine. Just like when you're pregnant, you have waves of emotions and your hormones are going crazy, and that's exactly what we're going through. Hey, Julie. So another one might be that you are more willing to watch things that you would never watch before on television. And so your standards are going to be lowered in your entertainment. And so what are some other things that you would add to this book, What to Expect When You're Not Expecting? Hi, Mike. So for me, maybe one of them would be, you begin to appreciate those minimum wage or at the drive-through, or you really begin to understand how much contact you have with other people on a day-to-day basis that you might take for granted. Another one would be how important serving other people is and how happy it makes me. So I don't know what you would call that. It'd be some sort of syndrome, like helping neighbor syndrome or something like that. You're going to go through a neighbor helper syndrome or something like that. I also would probably have another syndrome called restaurant withdrawal syndrome, something like that. So what would you add? I want to hear what you guys would have to add to this edition of the What to Expect When You're Not Expecting book that needs to be written. Everybody has something different. Some people, working from home, how to have a Zoom call when your dog won't stop barking version of it. A whole chapter on how to handle a Zoom call. Hey, Christopher. So what other things? How many hours a day can your teenager sleep? Like, what's normal and what's not? How we can turn the education system on its head inside just a few weeks, when they said it couldn't be done for decades. So I'm curious. I want funny stuff. I would. Another one that's my favorite. I think that I would add what becomes acceptable hygienically. It should be a chapter in this book. I have, this morning I did not want to put makeup on, and so I opted for lipstick and earrings and mascara, and so I tagged Karen in here because she was saying never underestimate the power of earrings and lipstick. So I'm going to say absolutely, because that's all I did this morning. I was not in the mood to put makeup on. and I've got some errands to run. Also, I think one of the things we might add to this chapter in this book is how you're actually willing to go to the grocery store for a neighbor, and they're humbled enough to give you their list of personal things. So you learn a lot more about people than you probably should, but you love them, and so you do things for them. To me, there's a lot of positive things that have come from this, but I'm wondering if there's any warning labels that we should put on it for the next generation to deal with a pandemic. Or how to homeschool, you know, like all the different things. Hey, Vicki, how are you? All the different things that I'm sure parents are having to come up with, and all the imaginative and creative ideas that parents are coming up with. I saw a video of a girl or a lady, and I think she has triplets, and they're toddlers, and I'm like, oh my God, my heart goes out to her. I would be like so incredibly crazy. Can you imagine having 3 toddlers in the house all the time and not being able to go anywhere with them? And you can love them, but I can't even imagine. My heart goes out to them. I mean, hats off, and I want to salute you. Anna says, how all of a sudden my inner moral compass is at its peak. Absolutely. And yes, hygiene acceptance too. Yeah. Hey, Michelle. So, you know, that's interesting because that's the other thing that I kind of thought of, you know, when you first become a parent, that judgment really comes out about how people aren't parenting. You know, that person isn't feeding their baby organic this, and that person isn't doing this. And I think that kind of comes out in a pandemic too. That person's wearing the wrong kind of mask, and that person walked too close to me. And how can that person dare to bring their kid to the grocery store? And all this judgment comes out as well. So I'm interested in one of the, like some of the red flags that might happen. Mask fashion for 2020 is always a fun topic. So all of these chapters that we could add. I hope you're doing well, Michelle, out in Lampasas. So yes, we're talking about what chapters or what additions would you add to What to Expect When You're Not Expecting a Pandemic, the 2020 edition. So I just thought it'd be kind of fun to play this game. Hi, Vicki. Y'all could feel free to play amongst yourselves at home, but keep a running list because these are some lessons learned. You know, they joke about you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, we have learned a lot of tricks. Mike says, yes, he's super elevated judgment from others. Yes, but you know, that's what fear does. All fear is the judgment of yourself and others. About what will happen, what people think of you, you know. So of course, when we're in this panicked, anxious state, we're going to be judgmental. And actually, I've seen an uptick in the way people combat that, which is beautiful, is with compassion. And so I've seen an uptick in compassion as well. So you can sit in that fear and panic and judgment, or you can see others through your more compassionate lens, which also can be turned on yourself. So, you know, if this is the 3rd day without you wearing makeup and doing your hair or whatever, or you haven't gotten out of your pajamas, that's okay. Give yourself some grace because these are hard, unprecedented times. So, what other things would we add to this book? Hey, Kim, how's it going? So, I would love to see some of the things you add to this book, funny or no. I think I'd like to add that I'm surprised at the generosity and the caring and compassion of others. And I'm usually not surprised. I think it's who it's coming from that's surprising me, because I'm used to some particular people being very compassionate and giving and generous. But then when these opportunities have come up for people that unsuspectedly really, really show an amazing side. Mike, say, how about the topic of failed 401ks? Yes, financial forecasting. What that looks like. It could look like a really bad, what do they call it, dirt bike tournament. Ray Ann says, feeling guilty about having $250 basket at warehouse store when buying for mother-in-law and dad, not going to store for over 3 weeks. Yeah, no, I didn't need 10-pound bag of rice or beans. No, but that's exactly, I have been splitting things with my family as well because my mom can't leave the apartment. She's in a very, very susceptible category. So in a way, it's been nice to provide for my mother-in-law and my mom and my dad. And so in a way, it does pull families together. Michelle says, dressing from the waist up for the Zoom meetings. Earrings make me happy and a shower is still a must. I agree. I may not put makeup on, but I have a shower every day. And also, my dog is just looking at us like, please go away. I can't get into the trash when you're here. I can't drag things off the counter when you're here. And he's really, really salty at us. So maybe having a whole chapter about pets, like they're getting walked all of a sudden 2-3 times a day. Hey, Crusader. What does Rianne say? She's discovering that I still have 20 rolls of toilet paper in April when I haven't bought any since Christmas. Yes. Well, you also have an empty nest house, and that may be part of it. I know a lot of people are like, why are people hoarding toilet paper? But I'm also realizing I think there should be like a chapter in there about the algorithm of toilet paper use, because a lot of people are like, why are people so freaked out about toilet paper? Well, my toilet paper use at home has gone up 75% because now all the people that were out of the house 8 or 10 hours a day are now in the house. So it's actually quadrupled for me. Not that I'm hoarding toilet paper, but I have definitely noticed that we need more than we normally do. So I also want to do a shout out to the creativity of people with lots of children, because I know a few families who have more than 2 or 3 kids, and how they've managed in this most beautiful, graceful way of having the entire family get together and do stuff and work together and have the older kids, homeschooling the younger kids. I mean, it's just really a beautiful thing, because basically we have learned to rise to the challenge. So maybe that should be the end of the book, about how it's like a happy ending and they all lived happily ever after, but really about all the beautiful things that have happened and come from this. We can always focus on the negative things, the scary things, and those are definitely, they do have weight. But ultimately what we focus on, we create. So if we're focusing on fear and panic and judgment and anger, then we're creating that in our life, and we're putting more of that energy into our life than needs be, because basically all of these thoughts are technically invisible. So if we really, really focus on the positive, invisible things, then we'll put better energy in our life and make us feel a little bit more safe, a little bit more free, and a little bit more positive, which ultimately raises our serotonin and raises our what's the good, all the good hormones. I can't think, my brain is not working today. So ultimately, we begin to feel better. I want to do a shout out to some of my sweet friends who I know have the virus, that are really struggling but are surviving, and they're exhausted and they're getting very, very anxious about getting ready. They're done. They're over it. They're bored. They're ready to feel better. So I want to do a shout out to them. Just be patient and heal yourself. Give yourself time to fully heal. We're all here supporting you energetically. We're praying for you. And we know that you've got this, because the world needs you. So just hang in there. I hope that you guys add some more to this chapter, because I think it will be a fun game. I'd be interested and curious to see what you guys have to say. So let's carry on this What to Expect When You're Not Expecting a Pandemic edition 2020. I will talk to you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and you just spread light and love. Hey, Bob. And you keep positive thoughts, hopeful thoughts, compassionate thoughts in your heart, because we are all on a different journey. We all come at things from a different place. We are all doing our absolute best. I can guarantee it. So if we come from that space, it does make it a little easier to look at people with compassion. So I want to wish you the best. Thank you for joining me this week on this silly journey that I had, and maybe next week we'll do something else. I don't know. I appreciate all of you who listen and comment, and I would love to chat offline with you guys, just because I like connecting with everyone, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.